This is just bad design. You know those old full-motion video games in the 90s like Rebel Assault or Sewer Shark, where you get a prompt to press the button at the right time or else you fail? I would argue that is superior gameplay than this, because at least in those you're still mostly looking at what's in front of you. And the second problem is that this gets boring. That sounds counterintuitive, but that's what's happening. This sequence should be maybe 30 seconds, enough to wake you up for a quick scare, then bring you back to reality. But no, I want to say it's literally every piece of furniture in your apartment. Every one by one. It just keeps going on and on. I feel like I'm helping Lucas move. There are so many boxes. Cleaning up the murder, figuring out how to prepare for the cop coming to the door, was way more thrilling than this. Repetitive action with no context just sort of numbs me to it. I think this may... Repetitive action with no context just sort of numbs me to it. I think this may... Repetitive action with no context just sort of numbs me to it. I think this may...
How to get a pro game
may have sounded good on paper, but by the time they did it, it was so much work they weren't going to scrap it. Well, it was all a dream. But the cops investigating the murder wasn't. They figure out which bank the bookmark paper came from, so they start asking questions while Lucas is at work the next day. Now, I replayed this part a couple times so I could get this right and not raise any suspicion, because the game throws you off here. Those QuickTime events will pop up, and you should not do some of them. Because if you do, then Lucas freaks out over invisible bugs. And as you know, cops like to arrest people with mental health problems. And after that, the game switches over to Carla, and I intentionally didn't go through Lucas's things while he's out of the room. No, we're just gonna stand here and watch the snow. This whole investigation is just a dead end. I'm looking out for you, Lucas. We ace the interview, she doesn't get one bar of suspicion. You have the wrong guy, officer. Bye. But this brings us to the boiling point. I'm back at the office as Carla, and I still can't solve this case. Because I've done everything to fuck up this investigation, because Lucas doesn't need this. The witness description is garbage. We don't have the fingerprints ID'd. There are no taxi records because he took the subway. That bookmark is a problem, but there's not nearly enough to convict. Well, guess what? If we bring over an employee photo of Lucas to the cop who was at the diner, he recognizes him immediately and boom, that's enough to arrest. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, the same cop that didn't notice you leave, and we even received a flashback of him not paying attention to you during the seance. I made sure the cops had nothing on Lucas every step of the way, and it didn't matter. Officer Eidetic here saves the day. If he knows Lucas's face so well, why didn't he tell the detectives at the diner? Okay, you know what? That part could be realistic. It could be it never occurred to him that him knowing exactly what the suspect looked like was relevant to the case. I can believe that one. Just because you're a cop doesn't mean you're Sherlock Holmes. But you get what this means. There was never any choice at all. They were always going to find Lucas, and none of the decisions mattered. I tried so hard to make sure Lucas wasn't charged, but there's literally nothing I could have done, despite having decisions every step of the way. Now, I'm hardly the first person to talk about this, but this is one of the more egregious examples I've seen of this style of adventure game where you choose what to do. There are so many choice-based games where the structure of them is set up roughly like this. You have key plot points and locations that the game is going to hit no matter what, but you present the player with choices along the way. Now, if you do it the game once, then this feels organic. If you don't, then you still come to the same plot points, but it feels more awkward, like what's happening to me right now. Now, that doesn't mean you have no influence, but it's only with small things. You can maybe influence if a few characters live or die, or if you want to hook back up with your ex-girlfriend, for example. But you're still going to hit all these same plot points no matter what you do, and can't veer off that. The experience is 90% the same for every player no matter what they choose. A whole lot of games do this. The Deus Ex series? Telltale games are infamous for this. All the BioWare games I've played, it's all kind of the same thing. What you almost never see is being able to make choices, then those drastically change the outcome of the game. So even midway, you're in a completely different place and scenario than you would have been had you made other choices. For example, this would be like if Lucas fled the city at the start and hid out in Wyoming, and decided to inspect the spooky mine. That would be a very different experience than what this one currently is. But that would also mean creating way more assets for every time you split the timeline with choices, which is why developers almost never do this. Maybe I'm in the minority, but this compromise style of pseudo-choice just pisses me off, because it almost never coincides with how I want to play my character and have appropriate consequences that fit. I would rather have just a linear game with a good story than a game pretending I have real choices, than telling me midway through the game they were lying and I actually don't. Or else the only thing I can change is whether I win the basketball game or not.
Life is all about choices, Tyler.
Alright. I'm done with the rant. Lucas is toast. The detectives are going to arrest him. So naturally, we have a mandatory QuickTime dance sequence first. You can't just fumble this one. You have to do it. Good, there's the call. Time to go arrest Lucas. Even though it's Tyler's anniversary and his girlfriend is super not cool about this. I bet cops still have lower divorce rates than military. Bye now. Lucas isn't home. Good. He goes back to the psychic. She's dead. Thanks for nothing. Then we get a vision of the guy from the diner, and he's pulling the same possession murder number on a dry cleaner. And the little girl is back. The detectives raid Lucas's apartment and it's empty. But a pagan or satanic ritual is going down in it from the looks of things. Lucas comes back, but the cops get him. See, this is what I was trying to prevent. But wait! Lucas has one trick left. Wall flip! Telekinesis! Kung Fu! Bullet dodge! Multiple bullet dodges! Knock out more cops! That makes 5 now. A police chopper! Run into traffic! Ground slide! Jump onto a helicopter! Fly! Jump off onto a tanker truck! Jump 20 feet straight up onto a bridge! Do a backflip another 15 feet onto a moving train covered in snow! Not today, coppers!
Next time, we won't get away.
Well, that went better for Lucas than expected. The next morning, he wakes up in the church where his brother works at. Not too smart, Lucas. I would send a unit there if I was a detective. Oh, good, the psychic is back as an astral projection. And we finally get some answers. Sort of. The puppet master guy is known as the Oracle. He works for the Shadow People, who have controlled things since the dawn of time. And it looks like there was no motive to picking Lucas or the accountant. They just needed a sacrifice to open the mouth of the serpents, and they were there. That technically answers some of my questions, but now I have more. Whoops, no time to explain. We have a QuickTime sequence of angels trying to kill us. This goes on a while. Oh no! Never mind, it's just a dream again. A hill? Yeah, your brother tells you to get out of here. Well, no, actually, he tells you to turn yourself in. Oh, thanks for the advice, Marcus. I hadn't thought of that one. Yeah, I'll get right on that, you penguin. Spoiler, we're not doing that. But we are going to our ex-girlfriend's apartment. Which, again, is not a great move. Oh look, it's a premonition of the police busting your ass. But does that matter since we're a Jedi now? Use the Force, Lucas. Yeah, there are cops in the front and the back. We're going to an awful lot of trouble to sneak past them for being a Jedi, but whatever. Oh, a mini game to open the window. My parents have some windows like this. Yeah, I don't even consider this an exaggeration. It takes about this much effort to open those windows even when it's not freezing. Finally, made it inside. Hey babe, it's me. Uh-oh, it's the fuzz. See ya. So there was basically no point to this, except we got a chance to watch TV and heard on the news there's an expert on Mayan culture. How convenient. Oh, I forgot. The psychic said we need to look up the Mayans. And it's a good detail that your ex doesn't have a computer, because this takes place in the late 2000s. So that means Google search will be the best it's ever been. So it would be easy to find everything on the Mayans online. Guess we gotta do this the old way. And here we are at the Public Museum. We grill them about Mayan culture and confirm the Oracle is Mayan. That doesn't really help us, but then Lucas confesses his murder to the professor, and he says, "Whoa, we need to get you out of here before Agent 47 sees you. Follow me." Oh, but look, somebody's trying to kill us. Down, Mr. President. Dive under the car. Hang on to the hood. Backflip save. Kaboom! The car's on fire, but there's two more cars. Lure them into each other, then do a flip jump. Oh man, the professor's dying. Really? But with his dying breath, he says the Oracle is after a child that has the answer to all of life's questions. No! And can we have an instant replay of his tragic demise? I shoved him out of the way of this car. He didn't even hit his head. How old is he? Late 50s, early 60s? I know he's old, but come on. And I'm not skipping anything. We wake up in a jungle cave. It's sort of a dream, I think, but we're having a powwow with the Oracle. Huh. He looks a little like Marilyn Manson, but that's not him. In 2005, he was voice acting this game instead. I've played that one. I think Fahrenheit's better, actually. Here we finally get some answers. Except once again, this is another play the level twice situation. Since we get a chance to ask him two things, then he sticks his panther on us. No wonder I couldn't remember why things are happening. You literally can't get all the answers in one playthrough. But I'll get them this time. Well, the Oracle wants to kill Lucas because if he doesn't, then Lucas can see what he sees, and he doesn't like that. But he's been having trouble because of the chroma. What is chroma?
Chroma? What does that mean?
The force that created the universe. The origin of everything. It gives extraordinary powers to those who possess it.
Oh, so it's the Force. Lucas really is a Jedi. Alright. The Dream Panther tries to kill us. The Psychic shows up to save us in her afterlife wheelchair and says I need to find that little girl I saw earlier. Because she's pure, and the prophecy foretold this. Yeah, the prophecy. Always a sign of good writing right there. And we jumped straight to another vision. This time it's the Oracle reporting in to the Shadow Council. It's not nearly as ominous as I would have hoped. Instead, it just kind of sounds like a dysfunctional city council meeting.
Another clown?
That's impossible. Only we are left.
We have a rival.
Who searches for the Indigo Child as we do.
They must not find the child.
That would be a catastrophe.
A disaster.
And we learn there's a rival force also with Chroma searching for the little girl, who is called the Indigo Child. Now that's a little helpful because the original US title of this game is Indigo Prophecy. I haven't seen any Indigo, but we do have a prophecy, so, 50-50. But time to wake up, Lucas, because the police are on to you again. They're coming, Lucas! Aha, a classic. Lucas pulled the old Spider-Man on them. They leave, but uh-oh. It's a phone call to his hotel room that the Oracle has captured his ex-girlfriend and he needs to come save her. And he's tied her to the top of a roller coaster track, which is totally not something the Joker would do. Okay, I'm sorry for just running with all this. The tone of this game just fell off a cliff. Right here, this is where it happened. We went from a slow, suspenseful, investigative crime mystery with the supernatural gradually creeping in and making us question what's real or not, to kung fu comic book physics at the drop of a hat. You can almost see the wires. It's not that I have a problem with either genre, it's that this does not blend. Blend tech would not approve. This has the subtlety of a brick through your window. Look at Lucas, an everyday guy, shocked to his core by a murder. We have a serious investigation, a sobering morgue scene, there's trauma, subtle psychological tension, slow character building, if anything, too slow, relationship issues, looking over the smallest pieces of evidence to intelligently solve this case. This all says to me that you, the player, should take this story seriously. We are trying so hard to make this seem real and adding all this nuance and detail. We're a serious story for serious people set in the real world, which is why the introduction of the supernatural is so jarring. The unreal would be utterly shocking in the real world. Got it? Good, because this is a game about a superhero with superpowers. Boom! Whoa! It's like this game is trying to start an argument between the hemispheres of my brain. And I could almost respect that. Except it's stupid. This is kind of stupid now. And I like dumb fun and cool action, but that's not the ticket I paid for. I thought I bought the somber crime investigation that leads us to questioning the nature of reality ticket. Lucas was reading The Tempest and has Nietzsche on his bedside, for God's sake. Nietzsche didn't know Kung Fu. You're adding too many Skittles to your vegetables, Fahrenheit. What are you doing? Alright, got that out of my system. Back to the game, we try to rescue our ex, but the track collapses and we both die. Now it's time for a flashback, and I lied. This is the worst part of the game. And not just because you're a kid again. Lucas and his brother are sneaking out as kids to see what's in a top secret military bunker. It's a stealth section, and look at this. Look at this crap. Invisible walls blocking me from taking a better route. There's a path they want me to take, but it's a bad path. It's downright cryptic what exactly they want me to do. I've flubbed this so many times. I hate this part so much. Don't move or I'll shoot. Do it, shithead. Do us both a favor.
The only way to get to the hangar without being seen is to climb up the telephone pole and hang off of the cable.
What? There's no lights. You could run across the road. Right. And the only reason this matters is because Lucas grew up at Area 51 or something. And this is how he got exposed to the chroma and became a Jedi. Except I guess he forgot all of this until a couple days ago. Well, moving forward, Carla heads to the cemetery where Lucas's ex-girlfriend is buried. Even though it's negative 40 degrees out and she's not wearing a hat, she's coming here to meet Lucas, but plot twist, he hasn't told her he's dead yet.
Father McGrath, I thought you were dead.
I was.
So that makes things a little awkward since he no longer gives off any body heat and is ice cold. We don't get an answer as to why his body fluids aren't freezing and hardening into ice, but we can overlook that. They decide to form an alliance because if he's already dead, I guess that's sentence served. Oh, and also the entire world is starting to freeze over. The police aren't sure what to do about that. Oh, and she's sleeping with Lucas now? That was quick. You may think I'm cutting out important transitions. I'm not. But not to fear. With the power of love or something, they locate the Indigo Child. Then Lucas heads in to abduct her. She looks catatonic. No wonder they're saying she's pure of thought. You can't have impure thoughts if you don't think. But uh-oh, there's the Oracle. And since the game was training me to pay attention to details for hours, I notice how the nun yells at you not to go in and abduct the children, but doesn't try to stop you. Then in the next scene, she's back at her desk reading the paper when the Oracle shows up. I guess it was more of a suggestion than a command. Uh-oh, worlds are colliding. Time for a rooftop kung fu fight, but in the air. You know, I'm saying kung fu. I don't actually know what this is, but they put so much work into this sequence, any martial arts people out there can probably identify what style this is. I would say this feels like the writer quit a few chapters ago, but no, this is all David Cage. Yeah, now's as good a time as any to talk about him. Or not. I feel like the entire internet knows more about him than I do, but I have an excuse. See, this is his second game. His first was Omicron, which I've only played a little bit of, and it was looking really promising, but I got stuck pretty fast, and I really should come back to it even though I've heard it has major problems. But I needed snow for Christmas now, which is why we're kung fu fighting in the air. Anyway, the next game from David Cage was Heavy Rain. And first, they announced Heavy Rain as a PC exclusive. Then later, they announced it would be coming to PC and the PlayStation 3. Then, yoink, it's a PlayStation 3 exclusive, suckers! So, I didn't get to play it. And it looks like the internet has been scrubbed of articles documenting this, but look, here's Nvidia in 2009 saying it was only for the PC. See, I didn't imagine this crap. So that left me a little bitter, since everyone was saying, oh my god, it's so great. Yeah, thanks for telling me it was coming to PC, David. But 14 years after Fahrenheit, his other games finally came back to PC. But if you know me, I play games when they're cheap, and they didn't re-release cheap. So I'll get to them eventually, but apparently everyone else in the world has played these games except me, and can probably do a psychoanalysis of David Cage by now because they know him so well. But all I have is this. So this is how I will see you forever, David. Although Omicron's on me, that's my bad. Although I think David Cage has managed to transcend the video, because I don't think I'm the right person to even judge this now. Now I can like good martial arts fights, because they're humans showing off incredible skill. Yeah, badass. But if they can both fly and are sort of invincible, then what's the point of anything? If you're a god, does it matter if somebody punches you? And this is not unique to Fahrenheit. I think this goes way back in cinema history, but I mostly know this from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The movie has wonderful cinematography and very skilled actors, but they're always flying around with their martial arts. I mean, if it was meant to be funny, I would get it. But no, they want me to take this seriously. I think? I don't know. I don't get this. This seems stupid to me. I feel like I'm watching a tournament fighter where both people are using cheat codes and have God mode turned on. What's the point then? But some people like this stuff. So this could be exactly what they want, and I wouldn't know. I'm the wrong audience. I did not remember this. But again, if Lucas is already undead Superman, why does he need to run along the side? Wouldn't it be better to just fly away at high speed? Oh, there we go. He teleported. Even better. What this fight says to me is I think The Matrix is a pretty good movie, but some people really, really, really like The Matrix. So it's the answer to everything. Yep, the old teleportation trick gets them every time. Oh good, it's the psychic again. She's awfully busy for being dead. I guess Lucas too. She's been the best source of information so far, and that's good because my questions are piling up again. And she has answers. Even though this took me 2 tries to see them all and I had to replay that damn Kung Fu all over again. Although doing this again, I actually didn't even see Lucas running up the antenna the first time because I had my QuickTime goggles on. Well, I find out the name of the Shadow Council is the Orange Clan. Yeah, I can see why. And she expands on what the professor said about the prophecy from the dawn of time that the pure child will answer all of life's questions and give whoever hears her ultimate power. But plot twist, she's not an astral projection, she's an AI projection. And they brought you back from the dead by making you a cyborg. And you have a chip in your brain now and it's trying to shut you down. So Lucas says, oh yeah? Well watch me do this. Whatcha? Hey Lucas, it's me, your new and improved girlfriend. Come this way. Okay. Hey Lucas, it's me, Rasta Man. Come down into the sewers with me. We can play Sewer Shark. I think the AI might figure this one out, guys. But wait, there are what look like Soviet troopers, even though they're jumping out of NYPD helicopters, attacking the construct. Up, up, and away! Wahaha! Until next time. Back in the sewers, it turns out the vet from earlier was a sleeper agent for an interdimensional organization known as the Invisibles that have existed since the dawn of time. And I have to wonder if this explanation is based on testimony from an actual homeless person. Well, he gives us 2 scoops of answers. The yellow AI construct is the Purple Clan, obviously. I think they sort of willed themselves into existence, and they're competing with the Orange Clan to get to the child so they can have the ultimate power. Problem is, the child has a low battery charge and she needs more chroma. But there are only 3 places it exists on Earth. But he has some extra in his pocket or something?
Where do we find this chroma source?
There are only 3 known to exist on the planet. We will take care of the child and give her a bit of chroma to help her hang on.
And the Oracle was using his murder powers to open up a doorway between Earth and Dimension X as kind of a radar ping test they do every 7 years to see if the Indigo Child has been born yet. Oh, and the entire world is frozen over now, including all the oceans. They're rock-solid ice, and this is happening because the Indigo Child hasn't delivered her message yet. So the plan is to take her to the military base Lucas grew up at since there's more chroma there. Except if you recall, that looked like it was out in the middle of the desert. This clearly looks like it's out west. That's gotta be at least 1,500 miles from New York, huh? There's another sex scene, even though Lucas is still a walking corpse, and this convinces me David Cage is doing this on purpose. He's sitting behind you watching along saying, yeah, she's having sex with a dead guy, and he's completely ice cold. Isn't that messed up? Huh? Huh? And I swear I did not skip critical scenes. You may as well be playing the game yourself. You're getting all the answers. So here we are at the abandoned military base that never got rid of the top secret artifact. There's a big quick-time showdown where we have a psychic battle with everyone, and depending on where you fail, we have 3 endings. First you fight the Oracle, have a psychic battle, then dunk him into chroma. I guess that stops him. And I have to say, they nailed the expression on his face. You can just see him saying, "Oh shit!" I think this actually might be one of my new favorite villain deaths. I don't have a top 10 or anything, but the villain from one of the Fast and Furious movies is another one of mine. After fighting him, you do the same thing again with the AI bot. Although I actually failed a QuickTime event and was shot in the chest. But that was fine. That didn't impact anything. And if you vanquish it, then the child whispers to you, and the world is reborn. And it's paradise on Earth, I guess. Even though Lucas has major doubts about all of this. Literal first world problems, huh? If you lose to the AI construct, then it listens to the child, and the world keeps becoming colder, and mankind goes underground, and it's hunted by the machines. So it's sort of a cross between the Terminator and Quintet. And if you lose against the Oracle, he listens to the child, then poof, everything goes back to normal. I do find this kind of hilarious, that normal life is the scenario where we're all enslaved under the Orange Clan and they retain ultimate power. Yeah, that makes me wonder why they wanted the child so badly if they already controlled all of Earth. Is it a classic case of power-hungry people wanting more power just because it's there? It sounded like it was more than just wanting to maintain their existing power. Or did they want more power to conquer Dimension X or other realms? It wasn't to defeat the Purple Clan. They literally only discovered their existence a day or two ago. Yeah, that's the slap in the face. We never made it to Dimension X. This part at the beginning? This never happens. We never get to see this. The bugs? We never see the real deal. The only glimmer we get is that council meeting, and that looked pretty lame. Even the jungle cave was an in-between place. So the whole game teased Dimension X and doesn't deliver. Boo! And then we get some whiny rock in the credits while someone sings about his girlfriend leaving for Santa Monica. When you left for Santa Monica. Oh yeah, I never talked about the music. It was unremarkable. I hated almost all the licensed music used. The score was competent enough, but almost nothing stood out to me. Probably the best tracks were the character selection music, and some of the suspense building themes. Everything else was kinda, They also reused tracks way too much. I hope I never hear this track again. Damn, I guess we got some coal in our stocking this year. Or not coal, excuse me, chroma. Awards! Half and half. This game is half everything. Half serious, half ridiculous, half real, half unreal, half good adventure game, half garbage QuickTime mashing, half finished. There's obviously a chunk missing from the game after Lucas dies, though that's not even the main problem. The problem is we were teased something great, and then went to Stupid Town instead. Yeah, half stupid too. Put David Cage on a leash. When I see this, I see raw talent just thrashing around wildly with no rhyme or reason. This is not a bad game. It's a good game that got fed after midnight and turned into a monster. Now again, I'm in the dark on his other titles, so this is probably way outdated. But from what little I know, those don't sound as imaginative as Fahrenheit or Omicron. If so, that would be a shame. I want his imagination, but I want things more refined. Making the everyday man an undead cyborg ninja who has superpowers and is actually Jesus doesn't feel refined to me. Speaking of which, I took the story challenge mode on this game and didn't use outside help. And I think I finally passed it this time. Surprisingly, I think I figured out the why of almost everything. A few things I didn't get the answers to, but I did see a pattern. At some point, most of the answers devolve into nonsense, but if we just fill in David Cage, then it's all wrapped up nice and neatly. And don't kill accountants. They just crunch the numbers, they don't write the policies. That's the episode. Hope you have a good Christmas. I never know how to handle Christmas, which I think has been made quite clear. But hey, it had snow. I wasn't disappointed in the slightest on that front. So, yeah. Depose!
I don't think understanding the universe makes any economic sense. What is the point?
I don't know. I'm just a boy.
Hey, wait!
Hey, welcome to the Game Dungeon. Today we're looking at Culpa Innata. This is an adventure game, and I played a little bit of it in the past, and I remember thinking, this is feeling kinda utopian. But I never came back to it. So let's do that now and see just how utopian this really is. Now, I want to play the intro, but no, there's too much other stuff. Okay, let's just start the game and I'll get you up to speed. Okay, here's the game, a point-and-click affair. But, you see that? That film grain noise filter? I hate this crap, and believe me, this does us no favors for video compression. Let's turn it off. Oh, what wonderful options. Yeah, it's not there. Oh, and look, a checkbox for anti-aliasing. What does that do? Nothing. It does absolutely nothing. This is not the first game I've seen do this. I'm drawing a blank, but in the mid to late 2000s, I want to say there were dozens of games that did this. An anti-aliasing option that literally does nothing? Well, is this something that can be modified in the config? No. Well, remember in Trickstyle how I reached out and got help to try and fix the game a little bit? Well, I did it again. Programmer Jonathan Newman gave me a hand this time, and he dug into the code and got rid of the noise filter. And that made some textures come out black. But then he looked at it again and fixed it, mostly. And he piped it through DG Voodoo 2, so now we can bump the resolution. And he implemented some fixes so we can run the game in widescreen. Yeah! So if you're watching this, you're among the first to ever see this game without noise in your face, high resolution, and in widescreen. Seriously, I think Jonathan and I are literally the only two people to have seen the game this way before. I'll have a download for the fix in the description. Okay, so now let's watch the intro. Wait, no, there are still problems. Remember in Deus Ex how we have an intro where you don't know what the hell is going on, but by the end of the game it kind of makes sense? Well, we sort of have that going on here, except... okay, we'll get to the intro later. It's better this way, trust me. Except for the second half of the intro. That part still works. So here we go.
We know how hard you've worked to become one of us. We know how hard you've tried to shed your old habits, your old world views, in order to be a citizen of the new world order. All of you here have succeeded the final test of this Immigration Academy, because all of you here are blessed with perfectly selfish genes.
What?
The Red Queens, which have survived and which will continue to survive, despite ancient religions which tell us that it is the meek who shall inherit the world.
No!
No, not the meek, but the very best shall inherit the world. The most selfish, the most determined, the strongest shall inherit the world. That is the scientific truth.
Science!
Ultimate reality. The world will win, if only the very best win.
Win what?
This is the way of the almighty sage. This is the only way for our unions, our planet's survival.
The only way?
They warn you, however, that the danger is not over. There'll always be those altruists who will attempt to break you.
Altruists?
There'll always be those who will try to sneak into our glorious new world order and try to undo our system. For that, we have the rigorous security interviews. And now, we expect all of you to meet with Senior Officer Wallace, who's trained to eliminate the sickly infiltrators.
Assume the position.
The almighty sage! The almighty
Okay, I'm starting to think maybe this isn't a utopia after all. Most scientific. Oh boy. And then we pull back from the cathedral from Serious Sam the Second Encounter. 2047. Wow, a lot to go over in that speech. I forgot that intro entirely. That sounded a lot like objectivism, which is the philosophy of Ayn Rand, I believe. I mean, they even had a shot of Atlas on the slides. And don't get confused by the name. It's a different concept from objectivity. Kind of like how Scientology is different from science. Now, I've always spotted what strike me as enormous shortcomings to that philosophy, but I'm hardly an expert. So let's play the game and maybe more will be revealed. Oh, and it's worth mentioning, this came out 2 months after BioShock, another game about an objectivist society. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. All right, let's get this out of the way. We're playing Phoenix Wallace, a security officer for the World Union or something, and she's dressed like this. I mean, this uniform almost works, but she has the exposed midriff to look sexy, I guess? This kind of breaks the immersion for me. I mean, I'm of course judging this by standards over 20 years in the past, but if you're security, wouldn't you want some basic protection? I mean, she doesn't need full body armor for Utopia, but wouldn't you want some slash-resistant cloth? Or leather or something? Security. Nope, just exposed skin. All right. Well, no time for work. We have a meeting to attend.
I have called you here for a very urgent matter. A Union citizen has been murdered.
What?
A murder? The last time such a gruesome crime took place in the Union was 15 years ago.
Whoa!
How can it be possible?
I said a Union citizen. I did not say in the World Union.
Okay, so a member of the World Union, Vasily Bogdanov, has been murdered. The first citizen murdered in 15 years. We'll talk about that in a bit. But he was a Russian immigrant who had been living in the Union for 3 years and was visiting Odessa, which in the future is part of Russia. Yeah, who knows? So he was outside the borders of the Union, but he was still a World Union citizen. So this is a huge deal, and Phoenix is in charge of solving the case. Assisting you is Julio, but spoiler, he's more like a competitor and you're racing him against the clock. Though the game isn't super explicit about that. And his face bugs me because he reminds me of an actor I've seen before, but I can't place him at all. So, oh well. After the meeting, Julio hangs around to attempt some snake in the grass shit where he tries to get you pulled from doing interviews because you're less social than he is.
I don't think we will be getting the very best results if Nyx is interviewing the people. Everybody knows about her below-average communication skills. I was thinking that I should be conducting the interviews. And Nyx can dig up the information. With her exemplary analytical skills, I'm sure she will do a better job at digging up facts from databases.
What makes you think exemplary analytical skills are not needed in interviews? Just because you can make small talk better with people.
Sounds like your boss sees right through this, though. Honestly, your boss is the sort of person you want as head of security. Just no nonsense all the time. Of course, that means she has no time for your nonsense either.
And for heaven's sake, where is your PA?
I couldn't find it after I came back from the bathroom. I suspect old Julius took it and hid it somewhere. Again.
Julius? I don't know why we've been tolerating him all this time.
I guess we need to talk to Julius. There he is.
Hi, Julius.
Can you smell them?
Uh-oh.
Smell what?
The stench of 1,000 dead bodies.
What bodies? What are you talking about?
Look at the rats. They're all over them.
Yeah, so we're hiring crazy people.
I will call my troops and cover them.
You do that.
Phoenix takes this well. I get the feeling this is not their first conversation like this. Well, we find the device, and I thought it was a clever touch that activating it is what brings up our HUD controls. Oh, Global Peace Officer regulations. Got some future bylaws here. Wow, there's a lot of them. They mostly seem in order. Oh, look at Article 442. You can disobey a direct order if it has a positive effect on an investigation. Interesting. So the way I read that is you can go rogue, but only if you're really good. Oh, and look at this. Your class is codified as part of the regulations. You can't even question citizens with an HDI rating of 80 or higher without authorization from 2 judges. And no less than a grand jury for a rating of 85 and up. So what is the HDI? Good question. That is a real thing. the Human Development Index. But that's used to rank countries, and this is a personal HDI. It seems to be a combination of your income and other factors I'm not aware of. Though it's interesting, she's in the top 20% and is almost broke.
Not that high, but it's still good to know that my credibility is better than 80% of the World Union population. Still doesn't explain the dire straight bank account, though.
Oh, these numbers increase exponentially, not linearly. So level 75 could be double what 70 is for all we know. And you have to love these categories. I get the feeling a lot of us will be underwater on this chart. Well, hey, this is a good start for portraying our future society. I mean, something is going on here. In fact, a lot is going on, or went on. Down on the bottom floor, we have access to all the highlights of future history. There's a lot here. It starts off with real history, but then keeps going. Gross misuse of commodities. Yeah, that's not a bad way to put it. Though I don't think that ended in 1992. Rulers behind the scenes. CIA, KGB, MI6. Yeah, not bad. Disintegration of the EU. Well, not yet, but I respect them going out on a limb there. Oil prices on constant rise for no economic reason. Okay, I could go on a soapbox rant here, but I'll just say that is not that far off from how actual economists think. Yeah, not bad. Let's keep going. Oh, wow. There is a lot going on here. You might want to pause this. I can't go over all of this, but I think the hyper-depression is a decent prediction, though they obviously called it too early. It's a good name for it, too. IMF and World Bank collapse. I don't know about that one. They've been stockpiling gold, I think. Nation-state economies collapse. Well, too early, but yeah, maybe. All politicians are corrupt. Yeah, hey, if that's what's written in future history books, then that's better than I thought. Trust the experts. Oh man, that one's complicated. It's not that simple. I was just talking about what economists believe. They're considered experts. Oh boy, this is going to be a long episode. All right, I have to bring this up. Here is my favorite quote by an economist about how we can grow our population for 7 billion years. This man was an expert, had a PhD from the University of Chicago, very influential in economics, and there's even an award named after him given out today. And my understanding is this idea of growth for 7 billion years is still kind of believed by most economists, but tweaked, with the idea being if we run out of one resource, we'll always find a substitute, and technology will innovate our way out of anything. Well, sometimes, but that just buys you time. I hope people realize this is still insane, but this is what modern economic experts are telling us. Okay, I'm getting off track. Quebec explodes. All right, moving on. Last capital crime committed. So does that mean the death penalty was abolished? The formation of green peas. Nice. Whoa, acquisition of Siberian natural resources from Russia. But Russia's not part of the World Union in this. Wouldn't that start a war? Like a major one? Termination of all taxes. Okay, interesting. Abolition of tribal family structure and altruism. Okay, so what does that mean? Isn't tribal family when the parents and the whole village kind of raises the kids? And does that mean altruism is illegal? How is that measured? What's going on here? If we back up, Phoenix has some commentary.
Nation states of the 20th century. They all suffered from the same sickness, gluttony. They could never have enough.
Yeah, but aren't people supposed to be selfish now? You should be the most selfish person possible, but not greedy? What? I'm getting mixed messages here. And it all comes full circle. 7th consecutive year with 0% unemployment. There it is. That's gotta be why we're hiring crazy people. Everybody's got a job now. You can still push a mop if you're crazy. So what if you steal blinking objects from people? And what about disabled people? Are they just not counted? Who else isn't counted? A lot of questions. Oh, and we have a map. So blue is the World Union. The striped areas sound like colonies, essentially. Oh wow, that's cold. Most of Africa is unexploitable in the future. We just pillaged everything of value. There's nothing left. Yeah, I think I was wrong. I don't think this is utopia after all. Ooh, the the final Bill of Rights. Looks like we have a lot of typos in the bronze engraving. Could use some spacing there. The Faroot well-being of the society. Well, it starts off okay, though under Article 6, I do not have the right to harm the system by unprofitable commitments. Okay, no joke, this is actually a real thing now, and it's not utopian. Investor-state dispute settlements, where corporations can sue countries if their laws make things unprofitable for them. So hey, if your laws say that corporations can't dump toxins into the water and disposing of them properly is expensive and costs companies more money, then those companies can potentially sue the government over that. Okay, I'm simplifying it, but maybe not. There's a big article on it here worth reading if you're interested. I am impressed that Article 9 doesn't say we have the right to the pursuit of happiness. It just straight up says happiness will be provided for you by the New World Order. That's bold. Respect the confidence. And I'm confused. Does Article 10 say you have the right to have your mind wiped? Or is it saying you will have your mind wiped and you have the right to have additional mind wipes whenever you want? I'm a little lost on that one. Well, I was right. There is indeed something going on in this society. I'm intrigued. And not just because we're in a security cathedral. Oh, and you probably noticed already, but there is some pop-in on the edges since the game wasn't designed for widescreen. If you don't like it, too bad. You can put blinders on the side of your screen if it bugs you too much. So let's start our investigation, and oop, we have a creeper. Yep, just creeping around. Here's a pro tip to all creepers out there. If you're already dressed like a gardener, which this guy is, if you just carry around a bucket or something and walk casually, nobody will notice you. I mean, come on, you walk like this, you're asking to be stopped. Though maybe that's what he wants. This could be some exhibitionist thing. Or maybe he actually is the gardener and he's crazy too. If you want a 0% unemployment rate, you're gonna need to hire a lot of crazy people. I like how this guy runs. It's not very efficient, but you probably burn more calories that way. Oops, looks like Phoenix fell for the old phasing through solid matter trick. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. He ran through a metal fence, you didn't. That was weird. The gate's locked too. You have to solve a puzzle to unlock it. And he left a CD in the graveyard. Or maybe he was already there. Boy, so many questions. We've barely left the building. And this game already has more intrigue than the entire plot line of many other games. I have to give this a high hookability score. And I didn't even show you everything in the intro. Look at that glorious widescreen.
It's the entry to the perfect metro system of Adrianopolis. It's so perfect that car sales in the city are at a halt. I'm sure this must have pissed off so many car manufacturers.
Maybe in Europe. In the US, I think car sales won't stop until oil is no longer a public resource. And even then, they'll try to extend it with electric ones, until we have a collapse or resource wars. But that's just my guess. Perfect transportation does get a utopia point. Hey, wait a minute, that's her! Look in the background there. Here, it's gonna be choppy, but I'm gonna try and render it at higher resolution and zoom in. Okay, that's 8K. That's the best I can do. Yep, that's our doppelganger. Let's go investigate. And yes, the guy to the right doesn't have a head, but that's on me. We're in widescreen country. Now, it's not clear to me if this is a force field, because that would be a giant leap in technology. Or if it's just a scanner gate and maybe an alarm goes off if you don't have a pass or something. Okay, so we need to buy passes. Well, that kind of begs the question of what if people can't afford a pass? Remember, Phoenix is in the top 20% of citizens, and she's almost broke. So what's everybody else doing? And our doppelganger is gone for the cutscene. Foiled again. Now this is interesting. There's a map of the city inside the subway car, and it apparently is digitally updated to sync up with your PDA. But that means we have a circular city in the future. I don't know how far back that goes. I mean, I've seen this in fantasy settings, and in real life, sort of. The main place I've heard of this is from a group called the Venus Project, which is all about trying to make a real-life utopia. They have some good ideas, but I think they're missing some critical steps and are maybe a little culty. But more importantly, I don't think they have the power dynamics to pull much of anything off, or at least that I know of. Anyway, they have a lot of concept art of what their cities would look like, and you guessed it, they're big on the whole circular city too. I have to wonder how practical something like that is. Like, I get that Utopia won't have all the same needs as a normal industrialized city, but it seems like you would want to work with the terrain more. Anyway, we update the PDA and oh shit. Oh, that's a purposeful game bug. They had me going there. Also, it's in the shape of the butterfly. You know, like the menu of the game, or the opening logo, or that CD we found in the graveyard. Butterflies. Everything's butterflies. Well, enough dilly-dally. Let's go check out the apartment of the murder victim. Whoa.
Greetings. This is the home of Vasily Bogdanov. How may I help you?
Jesus. I'm not sure I'm on board with the holographic talking head being our door greeter. Especially when it's a reflective metal texture and looks kind of like an old man while it talks in a monotone woman's voice. I don't think I would get used to this. Well, it's an interesting apartment.
Oh, what a beautiful thing. It must be very valuable.
That thing? Yes, clearly it belongs in the Louvre. Ah, a clue! The Thing Store! I like their logo.
What a strange set of dolls. Never seen anything like them before.
Never, huh? It's worth pointing out in the game, this city is close to the Russian border. And the bedroom! Clearly, Bogdanov was a man of culture. What's this? Well, it sure looks like a self-help scam or a pyramid scheme literature. Are you afraid that you're not greedy enough and unable to take that first step? I'll sit on this for now, but I'm skeptical if a society that's encouraging greed at every turn is going to lead to good results. Well, this murder's not going to solve itself. Let's head over to the Thing Store. The Thing Store is as advertised. It's a bunch of things. This strikes me as realistic. Having some upscale showcase floor for a handful of weird things that command a premium through sheer force of marketing. This screams gentrification, especially since a lot of nearby buildings look a lot older. Or hey, maybe things are so good in the future that we have so much idle time there's a demand for this. I mean, it looks neat, though I don't think I'd want that in my home. It would be pretty distracting. Though I could be the odd man out here, as I'm someone who doesn't have RGB lights all over my system, and that seems to put me in the minority these days. Well, the clerk's kind of an airhead, but she mentions how she already went over this with another officer. Except there was no other officer. Somebody's impersonating a security officer. This case is heating up. She gives an eyewitness description, and you have to piece together who it is. The part I find notable is as soon as she says that's the guy, you hit a button and we get a 3D rendering of him. You know, honestly, I could see cops doing this. They might be doing this right now for all I know. Just get some dodgy testimony, then bam, we have a photorealistic rendering of the suspect, even if the details are wrong. I mean, a drawing leaves room for interpretation the way a rendering doesn't. Yeah, this isn't a bad guess of future police work.
GPSN regulations prohibit us from taking too much time of our citizens during investigations. They are busy people. We are limited to 1 visit per day for official business.
Oh, that's not cool. Though I think this is less about the rules and more about the gameplay. They want to give an excuse for you to come back each day rather than grill them all at once. Because what would you prefer? The police questioning you for an hour or so, then you're done? Or them visiting you every day with new questions for a week or two? Well, we searched through Bogdanov's office. Phoenix is in disbelief he only has an HDI of 70. The injustice. Then we find out about his personal lawyer, then go see him. Wow, okay. This is what a law firm looks like in the future, huh? Probably not, but I respect the effort. Yeah, the architecture in this game varies. Some of it looks okay, some have old buildings that stand out kind of badly, and a lot of more modern buildings have this half posh, half Pee-wee's Playhouse look. Oh, a big shot! But wait, according to the handbook, I can't even question this guy without 2 judges signing off on it. Maybe that's just for involuntary questioning. Well, he looks the part. Damn. Look at those eyes. You wouldn't want this guy to be your dad. He kind of feels like a real lawyer, actually. Out of the few lawyers I've met, I've noticed some of them possess a level of calm that seems unobtainable to me. And yet, somehow, I'm still glad I'm not a lawyer.
Oh, what a beautiful work of art. I wonder how it can move like that.
Probably magnets. Well, he does give us some leads, but whoop, we're being called back into Central to conduct an immigration interview. Yeah, it's not enough that we're solving a murder case. We need to screen applicants to the World Union also. I feel like they should hire someone else specifically for that. But that's the future for you. This guy starts giving me a subtle attitude almost immediately.
Okay, whatever. Let's get on with it then.
We'll go exactly as fast as I say we do. I'm the senior security officer.
Can you please tell me about your childhood?
You sound like a Freudian psychiatrist. I thought his ideas in psychology were long gone.
Yeah, what is this attitude and reasoning? Just because Freud had a lot of wacky ideas, that doesn't mean your childhood development doesn't have a big impact on your psychological profile. And this guy's a doctor. Now, I have to criticize Phoenix for not pushing back on that. She really needs to lay down the law here. I mean, he's the applicant.
I was one of 4 siblings of a nuptial family in Calcutta.
Yeah, I don't care. Next question.
Let me remind you, the World Union is not a nation, nor a state. We don't even prefer to call it a country.
Yes, of course. It is a free trade area with no governing bodies.
Exactly.
What? So there's no government? Well, what the hell is this then? A global security organization determining who gets in or not? That sounds like government to me. The questions just keep coming in this game.
I wonder how it is possible.
Absence of capital crimes.
Yes. Do you know how it is achieved?
That's a good question.
It probably has to do with our impeccable education system, I suppose.
I don't believe it can be that easy.
I don't either.
What is your opinion then?
I don't know. None of the instructors in the academy had a satisfying answer for me either.
Yeah, what the hell is going on? Okay, I wasn't sure earlier, but it really sounds like this is the first murder in 15 years in the World Union. I don't see how that's possible. Okay, we've already seen signs this probably isn't Utopia. But even if it was, I don't think you would eliminate murder. Some of you may remember a few years back, this guy pulled a shotgun on one of his sons at Thanksgiving and shot him because of an argument over football. Now that wasn't murder. The son pulled through, his dad only got him in the arm and the leg, but it easily could have been. So what I'm saying is Thanksgiving exists. Football exists. So of course people are going to try to kill each other. Now what Utopia can do is bring down the murder rate drastically. So even in Utopia, football-related murders might not drop any. But say, armed robbery murders could be dropped tenfold. Practically eliminated if things were set up right. Conflict is inherent to the human condition, but some conflicts are a lot more engineered than others. You can re-engineer or redirect a lot of them. And this guy keeps giving me attitude, and he's happy to point out that he can get away with it.
I know about the procedure. Even if you dislike me, you cannot make me fail. Because the computer determines my score based on my response and reactions.
My, aren't we cocky?
Yeah.
forget.
So it's all up to the computer. The only sway the officer has is what questions to ask him. Well, I ask him some more questions, but he passes. There were a lot of multiple choice options. Let's give this one more shot.
I was told that you took part in a riot.
Yes, I did. The most shameful experience of my life.
Did you kill anyone?
Yes.
Whoa!
What? Did you enjoy it?
Enjoy? What are you talking about?
I asked you if you enjoyed killing someone.
No, of course I did not.
You are lying.
Wrong answer, buddy.
How can I be lying? I took an oath to save lives, not to destroy.
But you did destroy a life, and I believe you enjoyed it.
And what if I did?
Uh-oh!
Did you enjoy killing someone?
Yes. It had a certain texture to it. I cannot deny it. It's similar to having sex.
Oh, we've got a live one!
When you experience real sex, there is no turning back. Any other type of encounter is null. I feel like murder is like that too.
Please continue!
When you acquire the taste of killing someone, there is no turning back. I don't think you can really ever understand what I am talking about, because you are not intelligent enough.
Yeah, keep talking. Now you're making my job easy. Well, that went a little differently the second time around. I see a couple problems here. First, okay, they probably kept us in the dark for gameplay, but I feel like we should have been given a dossier on this guy. See, me, I would have started with questions about your past murder if I was an immigration officer. Could have saved ourselves a lot of time. Second, we only blocked this guy because I loaded my game. The first time around, the computer said he was fine. I think there might be trouble in paradise if this is how fallible the entry process is. Now, I have some more thoughts on this, but let's keep moving for now. Wait, what are we doing? Oh, that's right, we're solving a murder. I guess we may have just prevented another. Efficiency. Well, we got a few leads, one of which is a fashion consultant to the late Bogdanov. Well, I tried to go talk to him, but the secretary is stonewalling me.
As I told you, he is not available right now. Would you like to make an appointment for a later time?
No. Let me remind you that I am a peace officer on official business. I suggest you tell Mr. Arnett to make time for me.
Yeah!
I regret to inform you that you cannot see Mr. Arnett, even for official business, unless he agrees to see you.
What?
And he specifically instructed me not to disturb him for anything.
Fuck you! I'm a cop!
You see, the World Class Image Makers Association, otherwise known as WEMA, the organization that Mr. Arnett is affiliated with, has a special agreement with the GPSN. According to this agreement, a GPSN officer cannot insist on meeting a senior member of WEMA. If you insist on seeing Mr. Arnett, I'm going to have to report you to WEMA, and they will directly deal with your immediate supervisor at the GPSN. I suggest you check your company rules.
And there it is. Rules for some, not for others. This is how it starts. This is kind of the problem with pretty much every civilization. Once corruption sets in, even if you have utopia, it slowly goes to hell from there. I'm conducting a murder investigation, but the fashion industry is exempt from being questioned by the police. Well, what if he's the guy who did it? I mean, probably not, but once you have that precedent, then the sky's the limit for corruption down the road. It's not like this is a jurisdiction thing either. There's no literal fashion police conducting their own separate investigation. The industry's just above the law. Well, she makes an appointment for us instead. 4 weeks from now. Yeah, that's helpful. The next lead is a psychologist. Oop, let's check her HDI. Pretty high, though she's no lawyer. Oh, nice! The definition of a psychologically healthy person. There's so much in this game like this. Okay, I don't have time to get into this, but as a quick experiment, let's psychoanalyze your boss under these criteria. Emotionally stable. Yeah, I guess so. An extrovert. It didn't seem that way. Conscientious. Yes. Agreeable. No. She doesn't give a damn if you like her or not. And open. Also no. She's pretty by the book. So she's lacking on 3 out of 5 traits here, but like I said, this is exactly who you want for your head of security. So either this theory is flawed, or else society absolutely needs certain psychologically unhealthy people in order to function. Take your pick. I like this office. Yeah, I would not complain if my place looked like this, just without the moving lights. Well, we try to get some clues, and wouldn't you know it, we have AI psychologists in the future too.
I have to remind you that I was Mr. Bogdanov's first real therapist. All his previous ones were computer-controlled wizard programs.
Well, she gives us a lead that Bogdanov had a second girlfriend teaching at the daycare center. Though having multiple partners like this is normal in this society, apparently. I'd be surprised if it's any more stable than now, though. After all, we can't all be John McAfee. So onto the daycare center it is. Well, nobody's here except the kid acting as the clerk.
Hi, cutie yourself. I'm a respectable 5th grader, and you need to address me appropriately, or else I'll report you for discrimination.
The kid's an insufferable brat. Not only does she threaten to report you for discrimination, but she also says she may report you for assault on a minor, essentially.
Are you threatening me?
I most certainly am not.
I think you are. And let me remind you that there are severe consequences for those who threaten a minor.
She seems to be a budding narcissist, too.
I sense a certain discomfort and annoyance in your voice. I think you are one of those people who are inclined to behave neurotically. Our teachers warn us about interacting with people like you.
Yeah, a kid with discipline issues this maladjusted at her age doesn't reflect well in this society. Yeah, it's unclear to me how parenting works in this society. Do parents raise their kids? Or is everyone raised by the state? Phoenix grew up in a place like this, but she was an orphan. Do parents still raise kids? Or does everyone go to the orphanage now? A lot of questions. Well, she won't cooperate at all, so let's try giving her candy. And I'm not sure if this is an outside copyrighted image or not. I feel like I've seen this candy dispenser's face before. Same for that bird in the background.
Here, try this. I think you'll enjoy it.
Hey, this isn't kiwi flavored. Forget it. If it's not kiwi flavored, I don't want it.
Oh, so she's a connoisseur. And wouldn't you know it, the dispenser doesn't have the flavor she wants. But what if we just coat the candy in green Play-Doh? Yeah, I have zero reservations about feeding Play-Doh to this kid. Yeah, here you go. All right, that got her to cooperate. Time to talk to the teacher. Oh, great, she doesn't know he's dead, so we have to break the news. Yeah, this isn't going anywhere. Well, all this focus on kids brings me to one of the problems I see with objectivism. Now, I'm not an expert, but my understanding of objectivism is that it's totally against altruism. Except that confused me at first, because they don't use that word the way most people do. Like if somebody shows up to a meeting and brings cookies for everyone because they're nice like that, they're not talking about that kind of altruism, I think. They're talking about utter self-sacrifice of the individual for another, or living your life for others, not you. Like that scene in Star Trek II where Spock sacrifices himself to save the ship. I think objectivists will be firmly against Spock's actions here and call them immoral.
Logic clearly dictates that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
In the movie, there was no other way to save the crew, so instead of sacrificing himself to save hundreds of people, objectivists would probably endorse Spock getting in a shuttlecraft, fleeing the ship, and let it blow up while everyone else dies. I think this is why objectivism has never been the most popular philosophy out there. Anyway, enough of 2285, back to 2047. The concept of altruism, where you're living for the good of someone else over your own self, well, isn't that a core concept of raising kids? Isn't raising a kid by definition putting the needs of someone else over your own wants? It sounds like objectivism is really trying to swim upstream against how humanity works here. So yeah, I'm not sure how Culpa Annata is squaring that circle. And I'm unclear here, but if this earlier history means parents don't raise kids, and they all go to the child center, yeah, good luck taking newborns away from all mothers. That sounds stable. So yeah, I'm not sure how Culpa Annata is squaring that circle. Oh, and you may have noticed this already, but I think there's only one, maybe two footstep sounds in this game. So in this center for children with soft carpeting everywhere, Yep. And I guess we're done for the day, and are summoned by our friend Cassandra to meet at a cafe. But first, we have to stop by our apartment. Now, while it is pretty exotic looking, and I like some of her styling decisions, this is not overly lavish for her being in the top 20%. This isn't even a one-bedroom, this is a studio apartment. I've had some about this size. Oh, and look at that! Society financially incentivizes you to have ads in your home, but it only pays off if you're social.
I wish I had more company at my house. Then I could make more money from those ads I display.
Yeah, no thank you. She also has a pneumatic chute specifically for shopping delivery. And apparently anyone can be a juror from your home if you pay for access.
The new company rules of Amnesty International enable any Union citizen to become a part of the jury in any court case they choose, provided that they pay the appropriate fee.
Yeah, seems like some conflict of interest there.
The city is engineered in such a way that every house has a view of the pyramid.
Ah, okay, so maybe that's why we have the circular cities. And in case you're wondering, the pyramid is just a giant shopping plaza. I mean, it looks neat, but it's nothing beyond that. The box cover has some big claw-thing silhouette inside it. I'll give bonus points if there's going to be some giant mutant boss battle at the end of the game.
I can't go out in a uniform. It would be so politically incorrect.
Alright, we need to change our clothes. Yeah, we have a wide array of outfits to choose from before going out, and the widescreen hack does cause the mouse cursor to spaz out here, but it still works. And yeah, like I know anything about women's clothes. I picked this one since it sort of looks like something they might wear on some random colony in Star Trek. There's Cassandra. And all you do is gossip. Seriously, that's it. And there is a lot of gossip. This happens throughout the game. I haven't tallied it, but I estimate there are hours of this. Most of the conversation is uneventful and involves you just recapping your day and checking in with her. Now, spending a lot of time watching two women gossip is not what I signed on for, but I have to admit, this makes the game feel more real. This started making the society feel more realistic to me somehow. I can't even explain it. The conversations are believable enough. It mostly comes out to how Cassandra is kind of shallow, sleeps around, and encourages Phoenix to do the same. She's also more than a little xenophobic.
You probably caught some nasty sickness from one of those immigrants down at your office.
That stinky immigrant was seeing Roger Arnett?
Since when do immigrants know anything about art?
I can't even imagine being touched by an immigrant.
These immigrants are so easily impressed. I guess it has to do with their lack of sophistication.
She must be a little wacky if she was interested in a stinky immigrant.
Seriously, I lost count of how many times she does this.
Another stinky immigrant? Is he also as repulsive?
Stinky immigrants can only get so far with the money they bring or make.
All right, I'll stop. We do discuss the spoiled girl from earlier, though. Cassandra seems to like her. So maybe that girl wasn't a fluke of the system, but the desired citizen. Yikes. Yeah, this society is going to collapse within a generation or two, if so. She'll tear it apart from the inside like some sort of termite. Let's talk about the gameplay. It's your standard adventure game fare, except Culpa Annata has a twist that is almost something good, but is not. After the first day, the game opens up more and more, and you're given free reign to choose which location you want to visit, and in which order as you discover them. This isn't the first adventure game to do that. I don't know which is, though Gabriel Knight is one that comes to mind. It's not bad. You can return to places, figure out if you missed something. If anything, Culpa Annata is even more non-linear than that. However, unlike Gabriel Knight, Culpa Annata is on a timer. Yes, a timer in a point-and-click adventure game. And it's a subjective timer. Every locale you go to, you're updated as to the time and day when you enter. And the way it works is weird, but I think I figured it out. If you're just standing around and do nothing, then time stops moving. So a little like Superhot, except not. If you interact with something or talk to anyone, time moves a little bit. If you travel on the map, time moves a lot. In fact, it moves so much, if you have the option, you should always walk manually. So if there's a location in the plaza here and I can just walk to it instead of taking the map, that may save me 20 or 30 minutes of game time. Now, why does this matter? Well, two reasons. You usually can't visit more than 3 locations a day until Phoenix calls it quits and goes home. Then your whole day is burned. Unless you optimize, in which case sometimes you can visit more than 3 locations. So this actively limits how much you can progress in the game unless you know exactly what to do. And the second reason is this actually affects the ending. The sooner you solve the case, the better the ending you'll get. Oh, good. I mean, the impulse in adventure games, especially a mystery like this one, is to get all the details you can at every location. Except that's costing you valuable game minutes, so it penalizes that. This is crap design. Who is playing a game like this to rush? I think this is the only point-and-click adventure game I've played that's designed for speedrunning. Anyway, now that the game is opened up, our leads lead to more leads. We also revisit our leads, of course, because we can't talk too much per day. And the lawyer said something interesting this time.
I want to know why the Thing Stores Corporation now has ownership of Mr. Bogdanov's shares.
Article 6 can be interpreted as the shares of a minority shareholder of a company can be purchased back by the company at its book value in the event of death.
The company was, in a way, leasing the franchise to Mr. Bogdanov?
From a contract point of view, no, because Mr. Bogdanov actually owned those shares. But in practical terms, you can compare it to a lease.
So if you're a shareholder and you die, the company can take back your shares. Now, my first thought is that this would bolster corporate power, but might help break up dynasties, since your heirs wouldn't be able to inherit your stock shares. But wait, he said minority holders. I think this might not affect average people too much, but would widen the gap between the top 10% and the top 0.1%. Maybe. Well, our first new lead takes us to Pierre DeVille. Phoenix is in shock at how messy his apartment is. Now, I was going to say this isn't that bad, and Phoenix is a neat freak, because listen to her discuss looking at the workbench.
What a mess. I'd prefer not to touch this mess unless I have to.
Yeah, come on, that looks like a normal crafting bench to me. But he does have pizza on the floor and food smeared on the wall. So, yeah, that's not great. I mean, I'm assuming it's food. And you can see why Phoenix is good at security. She has the eyes for it. You're qualified to work in security with eyes like that. Well, Pierre's a good old boy that was Bogdanov's business partner and was one of the designers for the Thing store.
Things like the things here and things like the things at the Thing store.
What?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention. Apparently the names of the designers at the store are a trade secret.
I heard that the identities of the designers are not disclosed to the public. Not even to many company officials. And these designers are considered a trade secret.
Huh, I think that would notably shift power away from artists towards the company. Pierre probably signed an NDA, but he's talking to the police, so it's fine. Well, he doesn't waste any opportunities to hit on Phoenix.
I am here strictly on an official capacity, and I need your cooperation.
You got it, honey. I'll cooperate and play your game. Are you gonna handcuff me?
Handcuff? You? First of all, we don't use barbaric methods like handcuffing anymore. And secondly...
Handcuffs are barbaric in the future, huh? So does that mean security uses those net guns? I know I've brought them up before, but I think it's a solid idea. Well, he's surprised about Bogdanov dying, and that hurts his business operations. We also ask about his gun collection. I don't know, I'm having trouble believing there are 0 murders in the World Union if guns are freely available like this.
I don't respect any pain-inflicting device. They're all a part of our barbaric past, and I don't understand what people admire about them.
Yeah, okay, Mom.
I believe it's time you left my house. I had enough of your nosy questions, and your attitude is killing my inspiration.
Yeah, that went about as expected. Well, time to talk to more leads. Again! Apparently Bogdanov was hell-bent on being rich.
Get rich? Do you believe he was becoming too greedy?
Wait, but...
It is scientifically proven that greed is good and it works. In Mr. Bogdanov's case, his greed, boosted by his desperation, was giving him an enormous motivation to be successful.
Yeah, science! Very scientific. Well, I think the psychologist was trying to be polite with Phoenix and explain to her that in their society, there's no such thing as too greedy. As for greed working, that kind of depends on your goals. It works for some things. It gets people killed in others. So, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of another. On the way out, there are multiple signs around the plaza advertising NGOs. Okay, I'm getting confused again. First off, they said they don't have government. So the name non-government organization is kind of redundant, but that could be a holdover. Second, aren't NGOs non-profit? Wouldn't that go against the greed is good mentality this place is running on? Third, who are they expecting to donate? Wouldn't hoarding your money be more selfish than donating it? We have a lot of contradictions here. Also, from my research, the society seems to be veering from objectivism a bit. You're still allowed to be generous and donate to causes if you're an objectivist if you want to, but only if you want to, I think. Or you could be as selfish as possible if you want, like this society. And objectivism seems to naturally dovetail into that since altruism is the enemy and everything needs to tie back to the self. So you don't have to be a selfish prick as an objectivist, or at least not all the way. But that can help and seems to be incentivized, is how I understand it. We get mixed messages from the NGOs, too. Some are about animal rights, the environment, human rights violations. But take this one. We have to spread the message of being against chaos. This isn't a Warhammer game, so that one sounds like a grift. Give money to us so we tell people rioting is bad? Healthy genes rule the universe. So is this an NGO for eugenics? I don't know. Some of them have hidden codes you can enter in, then things will happen.
How can turbulence coexist with stability? By definition, they can only exist in each other's absence. What kind of a sick joke is this?
Yeah, it's sick. Sick and wrong.
Truth is never linear. How can that be possible? 2 and 2 make 4. How about that for a linear truth?
Aha! She's got you there. Nope, time to talk to Cassandra again. It's 95% gossip about your day and relationships, though a couple parts stood out to me.
Anyhow, she told me you can buy just about anything in Russia if you have enough money.
What's so special about that? We can buy anything here, too.
I said anything. Even the illegal stuff.
What, like cigarettes and alcohol?
Yes.
Whoa, so cigarettes and alcohol are illegal in the World Union? Good luck enforcing that one. But guns are legal, like Pierre's collection on his wall. I'm pretty sure those weren't replicas. I'm not sure what the logic would be there. But it's not even clear if that's the case, since earlier Cassandra didn't even know what a gun was.
Well, the man was murdered with a firearm.
What is a firearm? Some kind of stick on fire?
No, my dear. A firearm is a weapon that was used almost a century ago.
A century? Yeah, that would be 1947. Even if all guns were banned today, or better yet, banned in 2007 when the game came out, I'm pretty sure everyone would still know what they were decades later. Why would they have a line like this? Well, we have to cut our chat short to follow some more leads, this time at night at a club Bogdanov frequented. Phoenix expresses interest in the doorman and comments how she can barely keep her hands off him. Let's see, can we get a closer look at Prince Charming here? Looks like a typical bouncer to me. If Phoenix likes guys who look like that, honestly, she can pick and choose. Well, one thing I found interesting at the club is the bartender is unionized, and it's the same union for gigolos.
You mean you're in the same guild with the male prostitutes?
Yes, I am. I don't mind. Because the PSP is good at providing training for my professional development and protecting my rights.
You know what? Having some weird legacy connection like that in an organization that was set up a long time ago, I find believable. Lots of institutions have weird holdover traditions like that. And I don't know about believable, but I should mention the game is certainly trying to make the fashion look like it's in the future. Like this guy has a loud 60s sci-fi show uniform shirt on. The cafe patrons, when you talk to Cassandra, have a lot going on too. Like this androgynous person, at first I thought was wearing a sports bra with a pot leaf bib, but now I think it's just green tie-dye. And this is kind of a red ribbon wrap. It might have been inspired by Sean Connery in Zardos. Cassandra herself is at one point wearing this color of green I really don't like, going for this kind of tacky cowgirl look. But it kind of makes her look like a puppet, like she belongs on the Howdy Doody show. I don't know. I still can't get over Phoenix's midriff uniform, because it's just her wearing that. The chief isn't wearing that. Other people working at the cathedral aren't wearing that. Julio isn't. I mean, is this her choice, or only female officers at her rank? Like, you know that show UFO, where the submarine crew are all wearing fishnet uniforms? Well, that's in the future, 1980. But both the men and the women are wearing that. I guess it's the sexy Navy. Though that show may not be the best example, since it wasn't clear to me if all the moon-based women are required to have matching purple hair, or if that's just the fashion of the time. Well, it's a new day, and time for another interview. This one is easier. She's not a psycho, but she comes across like a spoiled rich girl, coasting off her looks to get what she wants.
What is your vision of the World Union?
It's simply the best place to be. I love the fashion there. It changes so rapidly. I can simply spend my entire time shopping.
Can we say you live scientifically?
Of course.
Scientifically?
Scientific rules are the fundamentals of human life and development, and I really like my life.
What career are you planning to pursue in the Union?
I'm not sure. I'm very good at spending money.
Maybe you can have a career in retail, as a buyer.
I would need to go to school for that, right? Boring.
And once again, the first time around she gets approved, but Phoenix has nagging doubts. And once again, if I ask different questions, she gets cornered.
I think you're going to spend the money you bring in and then become a liability to our system.
No, I won't, I promise.
You're lying.
No, I'm not lying.
You need to face the truth. Nobody can fool these computers, and we always base our decisions on scientific findings in the World Union.
What does your findings say about me?
That you are lying about work, and you have no propensity for it at all.
Oh, no.
So it seems like in this society, it's not enough to just be selfish as possible, but you need to work really hard too. This gives me two thoughts. First, unlike Dr. Psycho from last time, this is a common archetype for some women. Like if you had a room full of 30 women, I bet at least one of them will be a little like her in the interview. Now, while I understand Phoenix rejecting her from being admitted to the Union, what about everybody born there? I mean, look at that map again. That's a lot of people. How are they making sure everyone is hardworking and not mooching off someone else? And my other thought is this society seems to reinforce the idea that work is a virtue in itself. But I disagree. I think it all depends on what you're working towards. For example, I bet a lot of people worked hard in the past building houses with asbestos and using lead paint. But was that work virtuous? I mean, the intent might have been, but working hard can make things much worse sometimes. Now, I think self-discipline and the capacity to work hard is virtuous, but just working as much as possible for its own sake, I think actually might be slowly dooming humanity. But that's a whole other can of worms. Let's check in with Julius.
The armies of the mighty general took the enemy by surprise. They opened fire from every direction, slaughtering them within hours. It was a great victory for the general. His fame would endure forever.
Well, the case takes us a lot of places, but I'm finding myself more interested in this society than the murder investigation itself. And we are getting more clues about it. For example, physical writing is not only out of style, but is practically alien.
There are many books here that are handwritten. In ancient times, people had to teach their kids to write by hand. It's so hard to believe.
There's an eccentric professor who likes to keep files stored locally.
Wow, it's a laptop computer with no network connection. I am really surprised that Dr. Spencer was still using one of these. You risk losing all your data if it fails.
It cuts both ways, Phoenix. He also liked to turn off his personal communicator. Can you believe it? That device on everyone's heads.
He would turn it off. What a strange thing to do. I didn't even know they could be turned off.
Well, he had one of these older model PAs that you can manually turn off.
Why would he do such a thing?
At times, he just wanted to shut out the world, and he did not want to be tracked down either.
Why didn't he want to be tracked down?
He would tell me that he needed his privacy from the whole world.
I don't understand. The tracking system is installed for people's security, not for invading their privacy. Nobody at the GPSN would track down a respected person like Dr. Spencer.
Academicians can do bizarre things sometimes, Phoenix.
That is so weird. Especially since apparently law enforcement can't pull up your personal information without probable cause. Yeah, that feels like science fiction to me. Oh, and there's no poverty level.
What about the pay?
The pay, it is comical. Let's just say I live at the poverty level.
There's no such thing as poverty level in our system.
You know what I mean.
Whoa. I wanted to hear more about that one, but that's all we get. Does that mean the measurement has been abolished? Yeah, sure, I could see that happening. Or are they trying to say no one in the World Union is poor? If so, how does that work? I mean, literally, poverty doesn't matter. What matters is not having your needs met, or met adequately. And that tends to be synonymous with poverty in the vast majority of civilizations. Maybe all of them. So has that changed in the World Union? If not, then what do they do if someone becomes poor? Lock them up? Banish them to the rogue states? Kill them? Yeah, circling back around to objectivism, that's another aspect of it that's never added up to me. So to be an objectivist, you're not supposed to be altruistic, so nobody should sacrifice for somebody else. So what happens to people who really need help, like the poor? Well, I think they're in favor of help and voluntary charity, but what if that's still not enough? Well, I think objectivism says that if people are dying in the street from poverty, that's irrelevant or even as things should be, so long as everybody is acting for themselves and not being altruistic. So that got me thinking, what about Ebenezer Scrooge from A Christmas Carol? On Christmas Eve, he says he's fine with poor people dying in the street. He's rich, but he's underpaying and overworking his employee Bob Cratchit, and Cratchit's son, Tiny Tim, is going to die because Bob's so underpaid he can't afford the treatment. Now, I think objectivists would say this is all okay morally for Scrooge, because none of that is his responsibility. But wait a minute, Scrooge seems kind of miserable himself. Uh-oh, that's not okay under objectivism. Now it's become immoral. Now, of course, in the story, Scrooge solves all this by being kind to others, which makes him joyous. So I think objectivists would mostly approve Scrooge's transformation and call it moral, as long as he still preserved his selfishness and didn't become too altruistic with helping people. Like take Gordon Gekko from Wall Street, where he screws people over financially, has no regrets, enjoys his prestige, enjoys his job, enjoys his money, enjoys his life, really. Except for breaking the law and getting caught, I think objectivists would say he's acting morally. But Scrooge wasn't breaking the law. He had nothing to worry about. So if Scrooge had been more like Gekko and been partying and having a great time making money while people were dying around him, and none of that bothered him, see, that's the important part, then I think that would also be moral behavior under objectivism. So I think objectivism is saying letting poor people die in the street and doing nothing to help them is moral behavior, as long as that doesn't bother you personally. I mean, that's how I'm understanding it. Feel free to double check my philosophy homework here. Anyway, back to the game. I think what happens to the poor in the World Union reveals a lot about it. And the game is awfully quiet about that. And our investigation brings us to the military. Wait. So are we still saying there's no government in the World Union? Are they a military for hire then? How does that work? Well, the investigation of Bogdanov is connecting to a mysterious military death also. But here is another example of why I do not like this gameplay. You chat with one of the officers for a while, but when you get to this screen, if you ask for more info on the officer, she'll be helpful and refer you to an officer who knew him better, and you can advance your investigation. If you ask for details of his death, it leads to them snapping at each other, both of them now hate each other,
Bitch.
And the trail goes completely cold. How are you supposed to suspect that from the questioning? Now, it doesn't really matter, because if you get blocked, then when you talk to Cassandra later that day, just by coincidence, she slept with the officer in question. So she gives you the lead to put you back on the trail. But that loss of time all impacts the ending. And it wasn't a clear decision point to me at all. There are too many moments in the game like this. Well, back in the military itself, a couple things jumped out. One is the motivational recruitment poster here. Okay, so is this for the World Union Marine Corps? Over 270 years. Yeah, in 2047, that sounds more like the US Marine Corps. So does that mean the World Union just directly absorbed the US Marines and kept the same practices? I would think you would need a new institution, especially since the World Union doesn't have a government, right? That's a pretty big difference. The other part I found interesting was how extensive their border monitoring is.
For land and air, we use heat-seeking and motion detectors. Moreover, we use a strong magnetic field to disable any unauthorized electronic devices. All of our own devices are immune to this field.
How about the underground?
We have seismic activity sensors, and these can detect any underground movement created by anything larger than a mole. I can assure you, not even a sparrow can cross our border without us noticing it first.
Man, they're just watching everything, huh? So that means that trick I saw in that movie with those people in thermal suits trying to sneak into Area 51 wouldn't cut it here. No aliens for you. Well, I kind of want to get to the big stuff, but there's just more to talk about here. For example, at one point Pierre starts dodging your calls, but you get a lead that he's at some dance club at night. And the game makes a big deal how you don't have the right clothes for this club.
I'm not dressed properly for this place. I just cannot walk in there like this. It would be so politically incorrect.
Yeah, your clothes aren't politically correct enough. This also sends you on a quest to get the right shoes and dress, which has this weird tie-in joke where it's supposed to be Al Bundy from Married with Children selling you the shoes.
Me, the poor shoe salesman, Al, has to squeeze their hooves into these tiny shoes. It's worse than Saxon torture.
What is Saxon torture?
The only thing that's worse than being a shoe salesman.
It didn't really land, though. Phoenix gets upset at him and gets him transferred so somebody else can sell you the shoes. Except you don't have enough money for the shoes, so you have to go to the bank to take out a loan to buy new shoes. Are you kidding me? But let's not forget about the dress. After all, the game won't shut up about how important it is to find this dress and to get the right one. So after hunting down the right fashion consultant who is an expert in her field, because we can't afford any screw-ups on this apparently, we finally get the dress. So this is the politically correct dress for the club, huh? What kind of club is this? Let's see. Yeah, okay, it's not a sex dungeon, but we needed this dress. This game, what is it doing? I mean, again, I'm the wrong one to comment on women's clothes, but from her existing clothes, this outfit wouldn't work? She wouldn't be caught dead in the club wearing that. But this is truly the attire of a sophisticated woman that require multiple quest lines to find. And best of all, none of this matters because I don't think Pierre is our man and he isn't. Pierre clearly fits a profile. He's a good old boy that likes hot rod cars, antique guns, and women. And I think he would like drinking if it wasn't outlawed in the Union. This guy knows what he wants in life, and it's relatively simple. He just isn't giving me criminal mastermind vibes. And I read in a walkthrough there's actually a sub-quest, which I completely skipped, where you can get a search warrant on him, and from what I read, the police find nothing and actually have to pay him compensation for all the trouble. So I just saved the police a bunch of money by not pursuing him. And remember, time on the case. But back at the first club, there's been a lot of build-up talking about an exotic dancer, Mata Hari.
Officer Wallace, even when she is busy dancing, Mata Hari is very aware of what's happening around her. She knows that every man in the establishment is drooling over her.
Seriously, the game just won't shut up about how amazing she is. Her poster was on Bogdanov's wall. You talk about her with Cassandra. The bartender says how everyone in the club is obsessed with her. And you guessed it, eventually we're treated to a show that cuts off an interview with a suspect mid-conversation. We then get a 3-minute dance sequence. There's no dialogue, it's just dancing. Also, I can say that a lot of the animation in this game has been relatively basic. I get the feeling they blew half their animation budget on this and probably brought in a professional dancer for motion capture. This is easily the most sophisticated animation in the game. Okay, I guess there were some dance moves back at the other club, but they probably got those from the mocap dancer they hired too. This feels like a producer decision. Like, your sci-fi alternate society mystery better have at least a sexy dancer in it, or else there's no funding. Okay, boss. Oh, and this has nothing to do with the plot either, other than Bogdanov liked to watch her too. Okay? But while we're on the topic, I should talk about the music quick. It's a mix. None of it is going to blow your mind, and some themes get repeated way too much for the length of this game. I find most of the dramatic themes aren't that great. But the more chill themes are not bad for a futuristic society. I liked a couple of them. Yeah, that makes me want to get work done in the future. They get a little weird too. Overall, there's some redeeming value here is the best way to describe it. And we have one more interview. Okay. It can't be any worse than the first guy. And it's not. It's with an Indian woman who grew up poor but managed to learn about illegal computer hacking to get by. And yes, she can get admitted to the Union, but if you ask her different questions, she fits the profile of a different hacker that caused them some grief in the past. You press her on that, she starts to crumble.
And I'm not sure how you are not neurotic after all you've been through.
As I said, yoga can do wonders.
You're lying.
Why should I lie?
The part I find remarkable is what they're going to do to her.
I formally declare that you failed the security screening. You will be arrested and sent to one of our rehab centers as suggested in Article 10 of our Constitution. After your treatment there, you will be permanently deported from the World Union and never will be allowed back here again. You are a sick person and terrorist. After your treatment, you will be turned over to the Indian government. I believe a jail sentence is waiting for you there. Although I find jailing a barbaric tactic, you are one of the few who really deserve it. Goodbye, Mirage.
So she's going to get sent to the rehab center, then they'll kick her out to Indian prison. So she's getting double jailed. Why bother with both then? If your rehab is good enough, it seems like that would be the more humane thing to do. But if it's not, then why not just send her straight to India? And does that mean there's no prison in the World Union, only rehab centers? I mean, I guess if you have 0 murders, yeah, maybe you can do that. But the 0 murder thing still doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. What do you think, Julius?
I am 150 years old. No, 1,500 years old. I have been everywhere, endured every pain. In a span of 7 days, I lived through the hell on earth. I have seen Siamese twins choking each other, packs of cannibalistic humanoid animals hunting. I have witnessed humans turning into wolves.
Oh! Well, turns out Bogdanov was busy and had some illegal business on the side, but it's unclear what it was. It was some sort of contraband where everyone involved seems to be dead. I guess there was good reason for it being contraband then. We talked to the coroner, but they weren't even allowed to see the device that caused this, only the body. Oh, and we could have seen this one coming, but there are ads for potency pills in her office, and the waiting room for that matter. Well, we're getting more and more clues, and one big lead was a reporter who was looking into the contraband that the military was smuggling. So we head to the business district. Well, the business district is more of what I expect from Utopia, but that's hardly unique to this game. Almost every city has their business district look nice and fancy like this. Business. I do like this art gallery here. A lot of scenes in this game I think are kind of ugly, but then they'll do cool stuff like this. Well, the reporter's pretty chill. We get to rapping with him, and he has footage of the crash site that was carrying the contraband. Yeah, that's gonna help. And their disbelief of writing something by hand comes up again.
And Captain Perez's service number was written on what appears to be a customer list.
You said written, right? Handwritten?
That's correct.
Hard to understand why some people get stuck with ancient traditions and never let go.
Who knows?
You know, the right solar flare can knock out most of your fancy electronics.
How come there was no news in your channel about it?
Well, GPSN made an official request. They cited national security reasons and asked us not to publish it.
And you instantly backed down.
GPSN is a colossal company, Phoenix. You know, you work for them. When they make such a request from a regional holovision channel like us, it's very hard to turn them down.
Are you worried that you may never get information from them again?
You are a clever one, Phoenix.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works for major news outlets these days, huh? That's a pretty good take for 2007. Oh, and wouldn't you know it, the fashion consultant has a cancellation, and there's an opening for us to finally question him. His assistant even offers a free makeover to experiment on our face while we wait. But before we go in, believe it or not, we haven't even touched on the best stuff yet. If you have any inclination to play this game, you should stop here because it's just going to be one reveal after another. Alright, so after the assistant zombifies us, we finally meet the fashion consultant. Whoa, 83! This is the highest one so far. He checks off a lot of stereotypes for working in the fashion industry.
Well, they all call me Arnie around here. You might as well do the same, sweetie pie.
If this was a fantasy game, he would be a high elf for sure. Well, in the first visit, we just get some basic information on Bogdanov. But of course, this being the game it is, we have another visit. The next day, the assistant screws up our face again, and we chat with him some more. Most of it is about the case, but he also lets on how much he knows.
Do you think Mr. Bogdanov was happy in the Union?
He pretended to be happy, but deep down he was miserably unhappy.
And do you think I'm a happy person?
Do you want me to be direct with you?
By all means.
I think you are professionally disillusioned, and personally, you are very lonely, just like everybody else.
What? What disillusion are you talking about?
I mentioned this before. You think you are protecting the system and helping its people, but you're not.
What do you mean?
You're not ready for this yet.
Phoenix can't handle the truth and gets upset, so he asks her to leave. But that's interesting. This fashion consultant sounds like he sees straight through the society for what it is, but he's playing the game anyway. He seems to get how shallow everything is, but so far he's the only one seeing that. Well, the third visit is the best of all, though this time Phoenix doesn't let the assistant give her a makeover. Here the truth bombs start falling. Phoenix asks if Bogdanov contributed to any NGOs, and the fashion consultant says he didn't and was dismayed by this, because apparently it's a faux pas to not do that if you want to inhabit the upper levels of society. Interesting. It gets even better when he straight up gets pissed at Phoenix for giving him party lines.
And, of course, you also mentioned to him that it was part of his debt to society, right?
Oh, goodness gracious. Where do you get these philosophical lines? Those are for college kids. You cannot expect a man at VB's stage in life to fall for such ridiculous ideas.
Are you saying that some people don't feel they have a debt to the Union?
Exactly.
And why is that? What makes them so different or special?
You have to understand we are talking about older and very affluent people. As you climb up the ladders in a society, you start feeling more and more like an owner.
An owner of the society?
Society, company, system, you name it. I am not saying this is how these affluent people think. This is how they feel. To an owner of the society, a debt to the society has no meaning. And I talk to these people along these lines in order to reach them.
From what I understand, you're questioning some of the basic foundations of our system.
The founders of our system believe in the importance of our services. That is why we have a special deal with the GPSN.
Are you saying you are immune to such offenses?
Let's just say we do not break the law, and we are needed for system's well-being.
Wow, this fashion consultant just peeled back a layer of societal reality. So he knows the talking points Phoenix was raised on are bullshit, and it kind of makes sense because if this is an objectivist society, it does make sense to see contributing to NGOs as a payment of debt for everything the society has given you. But that's a subjective interpretation. One person may think they owe society a lot, but another may think they owe society nothing. And if the culture is to be as selfish as possible, well, it seems like that would encourage a lot of people to skew in the direction of thinking they don't owe society anything. But better yet, the fashion consultant says part of his job is to make sure the idea of contributing to NGOs stays in vogue in the upper echelons of society. That's why they're literally above the law. Because somebody important, somewhere, understands that in a society focused on selfishness, in the absence of government or taxes, you need some force to ensure resources are being spent on keeping society functioning, or else this all implodes. This is fascinating. I feel like we just got a glimpse behind the curtain. But let's finish what we came here for. After talking with the only person to survive the contraband Bogdanov was peddling, and examining the footage from the crash site, we finally start piecing this all together. Also, a sometimes fling of ours in the military calls in to say we might be going to war. Wait, what?
Currently, we're at DEFCON 4.
What does that mean?
It means we are nearly at war.
At war? With whom?
I haven't a clue. But they're keeping us at high alert, for some reason.
He doesn't know much more than that. Keep us posted, I guess. Anyway, spoilers galore, we find our last suspect after learning that this guy was a longtime friend of Bogdanov's, and they were both in the mafia. We have the evidence, let's bring him in for questioning.
Mr. Mikhailov, are you currently a Gambino crime family member?
No, I am not.
Mr. Mikhailov, I'm warning you. Your lies will not be tolerated. I would be forced to bring in neurology experts, and they search for clues in your brain instead of asking. And believe me, this procedure usually causes permanent brain damage.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, we no longer use barbaric tools like handcuffs. We just melt your fucking brain if you don't answer our questions. Yes, much more civilized. Alright, so what happened was the Mafia developed these VR mindjacking devices and smuggled them into the Union. They fronted the money to Bogdanov to migrate to the World Union, and he got in since he was loaded. Not a shocker seeing our interview procedures. From there, he used the Thing Store as a front to rent out the devices. The devices themselves are basically the plotline of a Star Trek episode, where there's this amazing new game everyone is playing, except you can see for yourself the game's not that good. But what was really happening was it was hijacking your brain chemistry to make you euphoric and addicted. It's the exact same thing in Culpa Innata, just with more sex involved. This allowed Bogdanov to charge his clients for all they were worth to keep using the device. He was bringing in truckloads of money, but then he got the bright idea of, hey, now that I'm protected by the World Union, how about if I betray the Mafia and just keep all the money for myself instead of giving them their cut? A real deep thinker, Bogdanov was.
The bastard was right. He was out of our reach. It is impossible for us to do anything violent within the World Union. Even our most notorious hitmen seem to get scared.
Whoa!
And came down.
Okay, we'll come back to that. But since they couldn't touch him, they went to their Don and he said he'll take care of it. Then a few days later, Bogdanov mysteriously traveled to Odessa, where they killed him. Well, it's off to double jail for you. But did you guys catch that? How sending hitmen didn't work? They got scared and lost their nerve inside the World Union? Okay, that explains a lot. It's pretty clear to me that the World Union is in possession of some sort of mind-influencing device. They're broadcasting waves that prevent people from killing anyone. I mean, I don't know how else you get a 0% murder rate for 15 years. So yeah, if you had that, that opens up a lot of doors. But the game's almost over. Yep, I got the good ending since I was using walkthrough help because I freaking hate timers. So that means we get promoted and are being sent to Russia to continue the investigation. Now, I didn't get 100%. In fact, I couldn't find any video of somebody getting 100% if somebody wants to try it. My guess is all it changes is this line where the chief says you could have been faster.
Your progress could have been faster, but that's okay.
But maybe there's a super special ending, who knows? If you get the bad ending, then Julio solves the case and goes to Russia instead. Whatever. There were plans for a sequel, but that never happened, so oops. I can't say this ending makes me want to play the sequel though, because I kind of don't care who killed Bogdanov. I think even a lot of cops might not care, honestly. Because Bogdanov was part of a crime family, he betrayed the crime family like the genius he was, went back to see them, then they whacked him. The killer almost doesn't matter. It was just some hired goon. So this is a pretty self-contained murder of a criminal who kind of brought it on himself. This case wouldn't be the top of my list if I was a homicide detective. Though I guess they kind of have to make it that way for a 0% murder rate society. Either way, the idea of spending a whole sequel investigating some common thug where we already know everything that happened except for his name doesn't sound like an exciting time. Now, there are a lot of questions left. Like, how did the Don get Bogdanov to come to Odessa? He probably knows a guy who knows a guy who runs the mind-influencing device or something. So that's culpa innata. But wait a minute. There are more questions. Like, what's with the butterflies? Or that face-shifting gardener? Or us going to war? Well, we're going beyond the end of the game this time. Oh boy. So you can play, I'd say 98% of the main story and almost beat the game without encountering what's next. All those butterfly signs you keep getting? Well, if you piece them together in forensics to find more butterflies, they eventually show a map that lines up with the subway system. Huh. And if we head into the subway tunnels, we find a puzzle wall. Then if we open that up, oh look! It's the police officer impersonator. And it's the hacker we sent to double jail. What's going on? Uh-oh, he's sicking the butterflies on us. Should have seen that coming. So we levitate into the air, wah, and wake up at our apartment. I'm going to report this. The chief agrees we should do something and arranges to have a tactical raid on the subway. Awesome. But whoops, the big cheese himself walks in. This is Mr. Hamilton. I actually have no idea what he does other than he's in charge. I'm not sure if he's in charge of security or the whole city or what, but this is kind of like the mayor or the governor showing up to your meeting. He speaks too quietly and calls off the raid.
Those people down there are GPSN contractors doing very important work for our security. They work under my personal supervision and do not report to anyone else.
Okay, so he's sanctioning them doing clandestine butterfly activity, even if that screws with our investigation. Yeah, no. Let's go back there again. Now everybody's gone, and I have to give bonus points for a 4:3 aspect ratio game, including widescreen monitors. Or even ultra-wide in this case. We keep going, head underground. Is that a Boy Scout? No, just similar colors.
Where are we, anyhow?
We're in the land of renovators. Don't you know?
Renovators?
Renovators? What, like Vanilla Ice?
My name is Rob. You may know me as Vanilla Ice. I renovate houses.
Let's see how far out we can get it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Whoa!
Well, he runs off, we follow through some tunnels, find a computer with a war game spoof. There's more stuff here, we'll get to that in a minute. Then someone else tells us we shouldn't be here.
This is a restricted area.
Yeah, well, I'm a cop.
Can you tell me what renovators do?
Nobody told you yet.
No.
In that case, I can't help you either.
Why not?
Because it seems that you are not ready for such knowledge yet.
Yeah, that doesn't feel culty at all. Here's the sick bay. What's a renovator?
Can you tell me what renovators do?
I'm afraid I cannot, Phoenix. Only Grandmasters have the right to disclose that information to those who are not renovators.
Guess we need to find ourselves a Grandmaster. Well, she gives us directions to something.
Take a left when you get out of here, then a right, another right, left, then second left, and second right. You'll find it straight ahead.
Yep. That takes us to what? A decommissioned missile silo? Everything looks rusted out and abandoned. Oh, and I should mention there's a puzzle here that's impossible to solve with widescreen on because you can't reach the controls. You have to disable it just for this part. The price of widescreen is sometimes high. And the place isn't completely abandoned. We head into the cafeteria and spot the creeper from earlier. And you guessed it, he runs off into solid matter again, this time a cave. So is he a ghost? Or what? Well, we stumble into the Star Chamber, and I guess this is our Grandmaster coming to say hi.
We are all renovators here.
Word to your mother.
Our purpose is to help humanity choose a path.
A path? I don't understand.
He's a mix of dropping some obvious truths about the World Union and also sounding kind of culty.
Because we are taught how to think and what to think, which means we can also be taught what not to think.
I don't understand.
Phoenix does not understand.
I don't understand.
Yeah. We don't really get any plot reveals here. All he does is erase our memory, then we wake up in some bombed out mine. And this is the real end of the game. No answers. I mean, we solve some puzzles, then fall down an elevator shaft and wake up back in our apartment again. But this is the end of the interesting part of the plot. Oh wait, no! The intro! Yes, now that we've beaten the entire game and seen everything, yes, now let's look at the intro. 2052, huh? Yeah, and there it is. The society ended in 5 years. This was all future history. Wait, Encyclopedia Galactica? Isn't that from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Magnificent, isn't it? It's hydrogen fusion. That's what creates our heat and our light. See what will happen 1,000 years from now. It's 3000 AD. Hydrogen is almost all gone. Used up much faster than we originally had anticipated. Yet the sun's even hotter and brighter. That's because it's a different kind of burning. Fusion burning helium. Now see the Earth's atmosphere heating up. Water and air disappearing into space. Our beautiful blue planet dies with the sun. Fear not, child. There's a good chance that we'll refuel the sun with hydrogen. All we have to do is build a pipeline. A cosmic wormhole.
What?
From Alpha Centauri to the sun.
Oh, okay.
But I have to leave now. There's a meeting, you know. Up there. You take over. Will you, love?
We know how.
Ah, okay. So he did maybe a Russian levitation dance and teleported just in time for the graduation ceremony to begin. Yeah, you already saw this part. Now, I'm not qualified to comment on the chemistry analysis of what he just said, though I thought helium was really stable. But let's say he's right. Earth is on a short timer. Then that changes everything. But we're still left with too many questions. I mean, building a wormhole to another star system sounds like a tall order to me. But then how is he teleport dancing? How is the maintenance guy phase running? How are people shooting butterflies out of their hands? What is this place exactly? I mean, everything here looks decrepit, and I'm not even sure how people are living down here. I've said before, mysteries don't need to answer everything, but this is leaving a bit too much on the table.
We are all werewolves. Don't you know?
Now, they were probably going to answer some of this in the sequel, but I'm not sure how much we missed out by not having one. Since if it was like this game, 90% of it might have been devoted to naming some thug, which again, I don't care about. And we probably would have only gotten another small taste of the good stuff here. You know, in some genres, you can beat the crap out of one thug in a few seconds, then that's it. It's done. The investigation's over. But what's more remarkable here is I think the social dynamic they've created. At the bottom level, this is a murder investigation. But above that is a painting of this completely alternate society, which I find fascinating by itself. But above that is running the world order to make sure society doesn't collapse. And then above that is a master plan to save humanity and the rest of the world from extinction. I love this sort of thing. The path of discovery to a bigger and bigger picture that turns all of your previous assumptions upside down. Moreover, that puts the objectivist society in perspective. Because when it comes to priorities, everything else takes a back seat to saving humanity from extinction. So maybe this society is unstable and the people at the top know that, but they just need something to placate the masses and keep nosy cops like you off their back so they can get their real work done to summon the wormhole. Or maybe not even placate the masses, but just distract them. It could be societal collapse is all part of the plan because they couldn't figure out something more stable. As long as they have their underground society summoning the wormhole, that's what really matters in the end. This is aspirational writing. I think there are a few long epic fantasies that have layers of discovery like this, but it's rare to see this in a contemporary or sci-fi setting. The last game I remember doing this was the original Deus Ex. Really, both Deus Ex and especially Culpa Innata are kind of sloppy about this, but I haven't run into another game that attempts to pull this off on this level since. Though to be fair, I am behind on games at the moment. I can't say Culpa Innata is a particularly good game, but it was aspiring towards something to blow your mind more than most games I've seen, and I think that quality is really underrated. Awards! Oh boy, there's so many I could do. Idiot Savant Game. This game is brilliant when it's not pretty stupid, and it's like there's nothing in between. But even when it's stupid, it's interesting, so it wins either way. Best Objectivist Society. Okay, this one is kind of loaded since I think there's not much competition. BioShock is the only one I'm aware of in games, and it was already collapsed by the time you start. Now, I'm guessing Objectivists would say this game is being unfair, and they may have a point, but then I'm not sure what an Objectivist society would look like. I mean, even in Atlas Shrugged, their society was small, isolated, and only made up of people who agree with each other. You have to aim bigger than that, and Culpa Innata, tried to. Poe's Law Game. Poe's Law is my favorite internet term. It refers to when somebody says something ludicrous online and you can't tell if they're making a joke or if they're being dead serious. I had that feeling constantly playing this game. Gossip Queen. Okay, I'm sure there are even bigger offenders on this front, but probably none that I'll ever play. This is easily the most gossip I've had to experience in any game I've played. I hope to not beat this record. And finally, fashion rules the world. I was not expecting the fashion consultant twist. I'd love to see more fashion designers saving the world behind the scenes, either in games or reality. That's the episode. This was a long one, but man, it earned it. Oh, based on the novel. I'll have to follow up on that. All right, see ya.
I have a feeling things are going to get pretty rough in here. You sure you want to go?
I can handle it myself, thank you. And you're going to need all the help you can get.
Hey, you're the boss.
Yes, I am. Follow me.
Hey, welcome to the game dungeon. This time we have an experience. Sabotane, a first-person shooter RPG. This is a game I never really heard about until a couple years ago, and have been curious since. So let's take a look. And we start with a dance number. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm seeing a lot of things I like here. Some mixed feelings, though. On one hand, unless it's an arcade cabinet or something, I feel like it's a little cheesy to put a trailer for your own game inside the game. I mean, you've started the game. You're already here. But on the other hand, I can tell there's some jankiness to this. Yeah, see, look at the combat. I don't know if I'm sold on that yet. Maybe the game doesn't start off well, so the developer said, no, our game is cool, we promise. See? Look at how cool it is. And while that feels a bit cheap, maybe that's what's needed for a game like this. Oh, look at that, screen tearing in the official video. Yeah, that's not me, this is the source video. Anyway, it's safe to say this game's earned some attention. Let's go. A face for radio. Huh. They give me two options for a character, but one is grayed out. I like how they explain what the stats do, or try to. There's a lot of RPGs that could learn from this. Well, I don't know how this game is going to go, but I want a character that's good at shooting. Yeah, we don't need these points in unarmed. I'll take my chances that the game isn't going to screw me hours from now with a mandatory Kung Fu segment. Oh, I can't allocate anything. Well, I appreciate that the game acts like it knows what's best for me, but no. Let's put more points in the guns. Okay, now I can allocate my stats. I'm not sure what I'm going to need here. Wait a minute. When I make a custom character, I get 25 stat points total. But if I use the pre-made one, I get 28. No, I'm not taking a penalty for stats where I'm not even sure of what I'm doing anyway. Start game. A cutscene. It's a spaceship pulling in, and our intrepid hero. That hair. I don't think it really works on him. I don't know why, but it makes me feel like he should be planted in the ground. You know, like those turnips with faces like you pull out of the ground in Mario 2? That's the vibe he gives me. Well, let's check out the spaceport. I guess whoa! Instant cutscene! So we're some sort of agent, and our message from the general has some grammar issues, but he wants us to blow up a food production factory. That doesn't really sound like a covert ops mission. That sounds more like straight up terrorism. Well, he says they're adding something to the food to turn people into slaves. Okay, if you say so. But let's say hi to some of the natives first.
I have an appointment and I'm late.
What? Okay, hold on. These voices are too quiet. Alright, that should be better.
Piss off.
No, it's not. Not really. Is this one of those games where the audio settings don't actually do anything? Oh well. This game is pretty big, and it's divided into hubs that you can travel around to. Uh-oh, damn it, I've seen this before. Okay, hold on. No more super sampling for us. Yeah, this is an OpenGL game, and I've seen some games blur some textures when you force super sampling anti-aliasing on them. I'm not sure if this happens on AMD cards or if it's just NVIDIA. Yep, there we go. Multi-sampling will just have to be enough. And even on NVIDIA, my blurry memory remembers this didn't used to happen, but the change might have been 20 years ago also. Well, my first impression is pretty good. I mean, look at this. This feels like a big open sci-fi world. Remember how in Deus Ex Invisible War, they cut the size of the level since there wasn't enough memory on the Xbox to support them? Well, Sabotane came out a year later, and it does not have that problem. It does mean we're doing a lot of walking, though. Whoa! Okay, good to know. Throw yourself in front of cars to speed things up. And I rapidly feel dumb since we're supposed to head to this bar, but I can't find the entrance. I'm not seeing doors. Does this laser wall kill me? No, that's good. But, okay, is it around back? No. Is it on top? Do I have to climb the building? No. Honestly, this increases the immersion since I feel like I'm really in the future. I don't know the culture, like how to enter buildings. But seriously, where the hell is... Oh, okay. This solid metal column is a door. Got it.